Well, it takes about 2 to 3 people to get the finished boat in the back of my truck. And so I quickly figured out I need a trailer. So a friend of mine had a boat and a trailer that he was giving away because the boat didn't have a title anymore. It was a 14-foot John boat, I believe they call them. The boat was not in very good condition, but a friend of mine had a private lake, so the boat found a new home there, and I have the trailer. So today we're going to unload this and pull the trailer in here and modify it so it fits this boat. I'm Bob Emser, and I'm a sculptor boat builder. The boat is 10 feet long exactly, and the trailer here measures just a little bit over 13 feet. This mechanism here, where the bow sits in there, is bolted on, so that would be easily to be moved. And I can see that it looks like at one point somebody made the trailer longer. So anyway, it should be, we need to probably to shorten it about 2 feet. After I got the trailer moved into the studio, I then disassembled the mechanism that held the bow. This is where I was going to cut it off to shorten it. I then measured very carefully how long the boat was, which was 10 feet, and figured out about where the boat should be ending. And then I calculated where I needed to cut that 2 feet off. By pasting the bow brace back on the boat frame, I was able to get a more accurate place of exactly where that 2-foot section needed to be cut out. After I got that done, removed that and prepared to get my grinder out with a cut-off disc on it. While I was grinding, I was very careful not to cut too deeply so that I didn't sever the wires that operate the taillights. In doing this, I was then able to cut off some of the other auxiliary pieces that I didn't feel like I needed anymore, and then able to finish off cutting off the second piece of the frame. And you can see that in doing so, I was very careful then to pull the wires out of there so that they wouldn't get damaged when I finished cutting it off. I then changed the cutoff wheel to a grinding disc. This grinding disc, then I was able to go in and clean up those cuts, and also to put a little bit of a chamfer on there, a little sort of a V-cut, so that when I did weld it, it would have a place for the weld to penetrate. I then switched to a flap disc to clean the paint and any corrosion off on the outside so that I'd get a good solid weld. I had found a short piece of angle iron that I used to clamp to the tongue of the trailer so I could get everything positioned very straight and true. This was worked out pretty well. I need to do just a few little fine tuning of it, but this
clamp it up really nicely. After I got this securely clamped, I then used a straight edge to make sure it was nice and true and straight. And then on to welding.
There are 4 types of welders. The first and probably most difficult one is oxyacetylene welding. This is how I learned to weld. It's the mixture of oxygen and a gas acetylene that are mixed together to make the flame. Very valuable tool when you are wanting to heat some metal up or with just a torch. The probably more common one is a MIG welder, which is gas metal arc welding, and it is a matter of having a gun that the wire is fed through that when you pull the trigger and the circuit is closed. It has a shielded gas around it, which keeps that metal hot so that it can melt properly. The thing I don't like about MIG is that it splatters a lot. So there's a lot of splatter that you have to clean up afterwards. Really valuable tool if you're welding a non-ferrous metal like bronze or aluminum. And the final two, which is in one machine for me, which is a TIG arc welder. And TIG stands for Tungsten Inert Gas, and it's very similar with oxyacetylene in that it requires a hand coordination of 2 hands of feeding the filler rod and the torch in one hand. And the torch essentially has a small tungsten rod in here that heats up within a gas shield as well. The other thing that this machine does is simple arc welding, which is what a lot of people would call stick welding. And that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to stick weld this together for a couple of reasons. One, it's pretty quick and simple, and also it penetrates really well, because I want to really be able to penetrate and get a good strong weld on that trailer tub.
The first thing that I did was I tack welded the pieces together. I did that in 4 corners. And the reason for tack welding is if you ran a straight weld just on one side without having it tacked on all the 4 corners, when the heat shrank, it would pull that out of square. So by tacking it, it holds it nice and square. One of the benefits to my studio is I have these hoists available. So I am going to tip the trailer on its side, mainly because when you do weld, it's much easier if you're welding on a horizontal surface instead of a vertical surface.
Well, I knocked off a little early yesterday to go and pick up these slabs of white oak that I had found on Craigslist. They're uncured, which is important. These are going to be used for the next boat, and some of you know if I'm getting uncured white oak, that means some steam bending is going to happen. So I'm pretty excited about the next boat build. But in the meantime, we need to finish up this trailer so that we can make room for it.
Once I got the ground wire and everything else set up and all my equipment lined up, then I was ready to run a weld on there. Once I completed the first weld, I then welded the other 3 sides in the same manner by rotating the trailer. While I had it up on its side, I decided I'd disassemble the landing pads so that I could clean those up and paint them also. The other thing is some of these areas were a little rough looking, so I thought I would trim them up and make them look a little bit better. The other issue is there's some things where some sloppy welds or something had been attached to the fenders. So I cleaned those off and sanded them down, put a little Bondo on there, sanded the Bondo, primed it, and painted it. I also used a wire brush and cleaned the whole trailer up, hitting most all the rust, and then putting a good rust preventative primer on the whole trailer, and coming back with a final coat of a satin black Rust-Oleum paint. Then I reassembled the landing pads for the boat, and it did not have a trailer jack, so I had bought a new one and installed that. After that, it was time to put the boat on the trailer. One of the beautiful things about this studio is this 1-ton electric hoist. I tell you what, it really makes moving things like sculptures and boats around by yourself pretty easy.
I had bought a universal boat cover, and I laid it out upside down or inside out on the boat so that I could cut the extra that was hanging out off. So the first thing that I did then was to sort of determine where the how much of this I need to trim off, and use these clamps to sort of hold it temporarily until I got that figured out. And then I marked it and trimmed it off. Okay, so that's it. The end of that project. Getting the studio all straightened up. Get ready for the next project. In the next episode, I will be discussing how I chose which boat to build next. A little hint, it's going to be a sailboat of some type. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone that has subscribed to the channel, and especially those that have joined me on Patreon. It means a lot to me, and it really helps me being able to produce these videos. So until next time, thanks for watching.